Peace and blessings, family. Welcome back to another edition of What is the Time, a podcast about celestial timing, personal sovereignty, and living where the getting is good. This is your boy Zamboni, your DJ for the affair. We'll be getting down and won't be coming up for air. And thank you for coming back to another edition. Usually on the show, I bring some guest in and we talk about some kind of difficult situation or some kind of staying with the trouble. We end up talking about death and addiction and all sorts of tough shit like that. Today, in order to just offer a little bit of lighthearted relief from that, I'm just going to tell a story. And sometimes throughout this podcast, I think I'm going to tell wild and crazy stories from my life because I've seen some shit in my time. And so today, I'm going to tell the story about how I accidentally moved to New York City. So in order to do that, we got to go back. I am from a small town in Missouri, which is where I went to high school. And at the end of high school, I had this long, will they, won't they, what's, ooh, are we gonna, ooh, with this girl who I was just in love with. And we finally got together at the very end of my senior year of high school. We finally got together and it was glorious. It was everything that you could ask for. It's 18, 19 years old. We just like are all the way in love with each other. It was just, what a time, right? And so then it came time for me to move away to Illinois in order to go to school. Now, it was a long way. It was a long way, right? But I had just gotten together with this girl and I just loved her so much and I didn't know what I was going to do. So obviously what I decided to do was have a long distance girlfriend in college. And my dad, you know, he saw what was going on here and he sat me down. He was like, listen here, player, taking a girlfriend to college is like taking sand to the beach. They got sand at the beach already. I promise you, they got sand at the beach already. But I was like, I love her. And so I went away and I did 4 years of college with a long distance girlfriend the whole time. I didn't do any of the stuff that you're supposed to do in college, right? I went to college and I sat on that phone and told her how much I loved her and all this, right? Come back from college, 4 years have gone by. She's turned into a different person. I've turned into a different person. We've had all these ups and downs over college and all that. It was a whole thing. Came back to town. I was finally, I'm so excited. We can finally be together. That shit falls apart immediately. Of course it did. It had no choice but to do that. Everybody saw that coming but me. So here we are. I am recently back from school and I'm in my hometown. And I go through this breakup and she didn't go away to school. She stayed in town for school. And so what she did is she kept all the friends. She maintained all the relationships while I had been away. I thought those were my friends. Those were her friends and those people knew me also. So when the breakup went down, then she kept all the friends. I had no friends anymore in my hometown that I don't even like that much. And there's all these people and none of them like me. They ended up kicking me out the house and all this. It was a whole dramatic event. They wouldn't let me play the show and all this, right? So I'm like, leave. And I'm just like staying in somebody's basement for a little while and I'm all teary and I just don't know how to live. And so I called my homegirl up. So I had another kind of will they, won't they situation, like, ooh, what's up with this? And we ultimately did not because I had a long distance lady. But so I'd had this will they, won't they with this lady in college. She was living in Brooklyn at that time. So I called her up and was all teary over the phone and everything. She was like, you got to get out of there. Like, here, tell you what, the Afro Punk Fest is about to happen. Why don't you come through? You could stay on the couch. It's free. Everybody's going to be there. D'Angelo was there. Erykah Badu was there. Janelle Monáe was there. The Thundercat was there. Before he was the Thundercat, he was still with Suicidal Tendencies at that point. It was just the parade of stars. It was crazy. It was going to be great. I was like, all right, that's what I'm going to do. So I saved up my little pennies. I was working as a dishwasher. I think I was making $6.35 an hour at that point. So I was like, so it took a long time. I was saving my little pennies up, but I did it. And finally, I got out to Brooklyn, New York. So I showed up at the airport and my homegirl, she came, got me from the airport, drove me back to the crib. And so then once we get to the crib, then I set my bag down and she's like, all right, here's what's up. And so she was off again with her on again, off again boyfriend, right? So they had been on, they had had a whole situation, and I had been through a lot with her, listening to her talk about this whole situation. So I knew what was going on in this situation. So she was off again. She was like, listen, here's what we're going to do. We're about to go by this nigga's house and we're going to stay outside. We're going to put a stake out on his ass. And I was like, we're going to what? I don't think this. She was like, we are going to go outside his house and make sure that we got. And I was like, I don't think so. And she was like, is you coming to what? And I was like, I don't think I'm going to do that. And she bounced. She left to go stake out this dude's house, right? And so I'm in her house by myself with her roommates, just hanging out. Hi, how are you? I'm here to see the show, right? So we hang out for a little while, and her roommates see what's going on. They've been seeing her go crazy about this dude for a long time. They're like, all right, cool. We're not going to let you, like, we got this. And so they like gave me directions out to the show and everything. I didn't see her anymore through this trip. She was gone. And so I went out to the show. The show was amazing. It was 2 days. Was it 2 days? It might have been 3 days of amazing shows. The most beautiful people I had ever seen. It was the first time I saw people with dreadlocks and piercings and tattoos and fashion. And everybody was like listening to this rock and roll music, but then we was also doing Erykah Badu. And it was just, it was my people. I finally found my people. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm so excited. Thank you so much. Very excited about it. Come back to the house, and I'm I'm like laying down on the couch. I'm like ready to go to sleep. And her roommate comes out and is like, why are you staying out here? Don't you want to come in here and stay with me? And I was like, I don't know how you knew my heart. And so we go in her room and we are sweating it out, right? And it's like the real deal. She's going through a breakup. I'm going through a breakup. It's a perfect situation for both of us. It's, the best way to get over somebody, get under somebody else, right? That's what we're doing right now. It was great. I missed my flight back home, couldn't get out of bed, all of that, right? So the whole thing goes down. I finally get a next flight. We come back to Missouri, and I get back to Missouri. Nobody likes me there. I don't have any friends in this place. There's no opportunities in this place, none of that, right? So I got this music teacher, and he was like, here, this is how you're going to make it out. You are going to audition for a cruise ship. You're going to go get on a cruise ship. You're going to play the bass, and that's going to get you out of here. They're going to pay you all that. That's going to get you out of town. I was like, all right, dope. I'm going to do that. So I practice and practice and practice and practice. It was a reading gig, and I'm not a super strong reader. Even in English, I'm not a super strong reader. I do much better with audio and listening content and that sort of stuff. But so I do my practicing. I pass the audition. Yes. In there, right? So they call me up and they're like, hey, we would love to have you. We will see you in 3 weeks. I was like, dope, 3 weeks, no problem. So I called the homegirl up and I called the roommate up in New York, and I was like, yo, I got 3 weeks to kill. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? She was like, yep, you better do that. So I got rid of all of my things and I moved to New York City. And so I just packed my little bag up and showed up in Brooklyn, New York with about $600, a guitar, and a dream, right? Beautiful thing. 2 weeks go by, in bed the whole damn time or something like this, right? And then 2 weeks into that 3 weeks, I get a phone call from the cruise ship. And one of their ships has caught fire. And they were like, hold on. Now don't worry. We still want you to come and do the thing, but we're going to have to push it back. So your 3 weeks has now turned into 7 months. Okay, so I have 7 months to kill now. And so I'm like going to this girl. I'm like, hi, can we maybe, can I stay here, please? And she was like, what's she going to do at this point? She like got me. So I end up staying there. So I don't have a job. I don't have that $600. It was gone immediately. You know what I mean? I had never spent money at a New York rate before. It was money go quick in New York. And so I'm just out here, and I end up like I had this whole relationship with her cat because because he was in the house all the time and I was in the house all the time, and she was going through this big breakup and whatever, and so she was like really miserable and depressed a lot. And so what she did was she did a lot of stress baking, and so her whole situation was, you know, she would like make empanadas, or she would make pies, or she would make muffins, or whatever it was that she was making, and she would make it on this huge level, but she wasn't cleaning up shit. And so I came in and I became the maid service. So I was like, while she was away at work, I was handling the kitchen. I was handling the floors. I was doing all sorts of stuff. I remember her roommates were like, what is going on? The best roommate ever. This is amazing, right? So I was just cleaning up behind everybody. I was doing laundry. I was doing like the whole thing, right? One thing that is not commonly known about me is that I am low-key a domestic goddess. I got the domestic situation on point. I know how to keep a home. So I was in there, I was doing all that, right? 7 months goes by. And during that 7 months, I have a guitar, but I don't have an amp. I don't have any of the proper practicing equipment. I'm also kind of sad myself. And so I just like wasn't on top of my shit like that. So 7 months goes by, I finally get out to the cruise ship, and now I am the worst bass player who has ever touched the instrument. I was terrible. I was trash. Everybody in the band hated me with good reason. When the bass player sucks, everybody sounds bad. I was just making everybody sound terrible. I didn't have any friends out there. They told me that they tried to get rid of me, but they couldn't get somebody to come in time. So I ended up staying out there for this whole 4.5 months. I was just out there with these people who hated me. I would just like, I practiced so hard. I was like, cause it was, you know, it would be 4 or 5 hours of playing every day. And then on top of that, I would practice for another 8 or something like that. So I would practice all day and practice all day. Please don't let me go out and suck this time, and go out on stage and suck. And do it all over again. Practice all day, practice all day, practice all day, go out and suck. And so it was hard. It was a hard time to do that whole thing. The band really hated me. Although, I gotta say, with that much playing, I definitely became a much stronger player throughout that process. So I finally finished my contract up, and I end up back, and they fly me back to New York City. And so throughout that process, I'm just like on the phone with the homegirl the whole time, right? Like she don't got nobody. Like I have a girlfriend at home. I have another like long distance girlfriend situation, right? And so, but I know how to do that. I know how to like be on the phone with a long distance situation and all this. And so I ended up going back to New York and ended up in her house. Couldn't get another contract, obviously. Everybody at Carnival hated me. So I didn't get another contract, didn't end up leaving to go do cruise ship stuff anymore. I took that little bit of money that I made throughout that time. I bought a real bass guitar. So I was playing on kind of a toy before, and so I got a real instrument, and I got an amp, and I got all the things that I needed to practice. And then I was just in New York with this girl. So she and I ended up making it 3 years. We were supposed to make it 3 weeks, but we made it 3 years. I personally am extremely proud of my ability to hold it down on that. And then after that, you know, I had a foot in the door. So I guess we live in New York now. So that is the story of how I accidentally moved to New York. There's so much more that happened to me after that, but that's a nice little beginner place. So I hope that you enjoyed, and I look forward to seeing y'all next time. Thank y'all as always for being with me. Appreciate you. Peace and blessings. If you want to support the production of this kind of content, if you want to get in my Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, and send me a few bucks, that would be super helpful. If you want to go on to Patreon and check out, I've got Astro Basics courses there. So sometimes YouTube astrologers, such as myself, will use a bunch of jargon, and that can be hard to understand, even though it's useful information. So I have a beginner's course there on Patreon. You can find it there. You can go to ZamboniFunk.com and you can get an astrology reading with me. And if you don't want to deal with all that and you want me to just translate it for you directly, I will do that. We also, if you want to go to Spotify, Pandora, Tidal, and check out Can't Help Myself, I super appreciate that. That's my tune, my song, my original music. I'm really super proud of it. Thank you for going and listening to that. Thank you for doing all of these things. Thank you for just being here with me, and I'll see y'all next time.